Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you're liking this content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on the latest content. And speaking of this being a deck profile, this is our last deck profile of 2024. I know, it's gone. The whole year, it's basically gone. Next week, we've got no uploads coming for any sort of deck profiles or matches, just because it's Christmas next week, and I want to take a bit of time off, whilst I also work on Jank Tank the Champions, because, you know, that's time off. But, yeah, essentially the last load of uploads for this year is going to be Jank Tank the Champions, coming out the 30th of December, so kind of New Year's week, so nothing coming out next week at all, because, you know, I just need a bit of time off, I'll be honest. But deck we're looking at today is Pulsemon. Pulsemon is a deck that I absolutely adore. Have been playing it for a little while now and really got into the swing of it in BT17 because I absolutely freaking love the Takumi Kazuchi version of this deck. In fact, I will put the link to that previous deck profile down in the pinned comments below, because I actually still kind of prefer that, but I wanted to have a look at Pulsemon with some of the new kind of stuff from LM02, the special set, just to kind of play around with those. And unfortunately, some of the stuff that you do in the Takumi Kazuchi version doesn't really work in this version and vice versa. So this one is a bit more of a pure Pulsemon build as opposed to last time. But if you do want to see the Takumi Kazuchi shenanigans, like I said, use the link below. Anyways, this is the list. So also, apologies, I've gone back to the old format of doing this, where I kind of do a screen record of Digimon Card App. Just because I'm running out of time already this week. It's Monday and I'm running out of time because I want to do more. I want to do Champions editing later in the week, and I can't do that tomorrow because I'm with my band, so I have to do that Wednesday, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But anyways, I've gone back to the old format, but let me know if you guys prefer the old format or if you like the newer format, or, you know, what you guys want to see, because ultimately that's what we want to do for you guys. But anyways, Egg BBmon. Absolutely freaking amazing, this egg. When the effect places a Tamer card in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory. It is just super generic, super good. You know, we're mind linking all the time. We're putting Tamers underneath. It is really good. Works very well in combination with one of the rookies as well. And it's just a phenomenal card. Next, speaking of the level 3, sorry, I had a hiccup there. Speaking of the level 3s, I've got 2 copies of, this is the first Pulsemon we're going over, which is the BT6 Pulsemon. Now, I was playing the Promo Pal in a lot of my testing, but that card never comes up. I never found a time where I was like, yeah, I'm attacking him with a rookie. I want to attack him with a rookie. This is what I want to be doing. You know, unless it was like for like specific rookie rush stuff, but I never found the PAL came up, whereas at least this guy does. Granted, we are playing the wrong scramble for him, but if you wanted to play more of this guy, then you could just change out the scramble that we've chosen for the other one that corresponds with his current color, yellow, in case you're not aware. But essentially this guy, you may trash cards from the top of your security stack until there are 3 left, gain 1 memory for each card trash, so you can use that to set up your kind of best, you know, the sweet spot you want for this deck, which is 3 security. You want to try and always be at 3 security. Yes, you have to be careful with that, because if you can make yourself too low too quickly and they capitalize on that, you're going to be screwed. But if you can get that sweet spot and get yourself to 3 and do all of the stuff you need to do, really good. Speaking of having 3 security, the inheritable of this guy, it just gives jamming to your stack if you've got 3 security cards, which is really good, seeming that we can do some unsuspending shenanigans to attack into security. Next, we're going to talk about probably one of the best cards in the deck, and the main scramble target, in fact, which is Pulsemon. Pulsemon from BT17. We've got 4 copies of this one. You place a Leon Alexander from your hand as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card at the start of main, and if you do, and you've got 3 or more security cards, you gain a memory, and if you do and you've got 2 or fewer, you do recovery +1. So it's a rookie that can give you recovery +1. It gives you memory earlier in the game when you've got more security. The fact is, this guy coupled with the egg means that you're gaining 2 memory every time you're putting something in at the start of main. It's really good. You know, it also has a great inheritable. While this Digimon has Pulsemon in its text, gets 1000 DP, and that's all turns effect. So if you're being aggressive, if you're being defensive, does not matter. Then the other Pulsemon we've got is 4 copies of the BT16 one. You reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Pulsemon and 1 card with Aberdeen Electronics among them to the hand, and return the rest to the bottom of the deck. And again, same inheritable of 1000 DP on this guy. So really, really good. Can basically add everything in the deck because everything's pretty much got Pulsemon in text, and everything's, you know, well, not everything, but a lot of the stuff that then does have Pulsemon in its text also has Aberdeen Electronics. So, you know, you can really pick and choose, you know, what exactly you're wanting to add to hand. And this guy was great in the Takumi Kazuchi version because he can actually add the Fenrir Lugamon and the Takumi Kazuchi from BT17 because they have Pulsemon in their text, which is really cool. I really like that. But enough about that build. We're talking about this one. Next into the level 4s, we've got 4 copies of Bulkmon. So if you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. If you have 3 or fewer, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon instead, and then it has an all turns effect as well of when your opponent your security stack is trashed from. If you've got Leon Alexander in your Digivolution cards, you recovery +1, so that's really good as well. So if you've got barrier underneath because the Mind Link Tamers give you barrier, and you've had to trash because you swung in with this, you then get to recovery +1 for having done that trash, which is really good. And again, that same 1000 DP inheritable there as well. In fact, just gonna preface this now. Most of the level 4s and level 3s have that 1000 DP inheritable, including Runamon. Runamon also has that inheritable. We're running 2 copies of this one, was 4 copies of the bulk one in case I didn't say that. But you've got, if 3 or more security cards with this guy on play when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and if you have 3 or fewer, you gain 1 memory, which is nice. And again, that same 1000 DP inheritable. Someone who doesn't have that 1000 DP inheritable though is Examon, the promo one. When Digivolving, you have 3 or more security cards. We're playing 4 of this guy, by the way. Suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. If you have 3 or fewer, one of their Digimon or Tamers can't unsuspend to the end of their turn. So that's where you need that sweet spot. Because if you've got that sweet spot, you suspend one of their Digimon or Tamers, and then you've got the 3 or fewer, you can also make it so that that doesn't unsuspend either. Also has an all sense effect of when this Digimon suspends, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as it. So that again, all turns effect. So that means that is aggressive and defensive. You can use it when you swing in to suspend one of their guys, you know, make it so that they've got additional suspended bodies for your end of turn effect on your Kazuchimon, and also so that when you're blocking, you can also suspend one of their guys, stopping it from being able to get you, which is really nice. It's just a fantastic card. And obviously I didn't have access to this back in the BT17 build, and I may update that build to have to include this, but I do also like that the Makamon as well. That is a really good tech choice dependent on certain matchups where you've got that D-Digivolution and DP reduction protection. So you know, obviously can come up, and both are really good, but I do like Examon in this. Then we've got Boutmon, 3 copies of this guy. When this Digimon would leave the battle area by an opponent's effect by trashing the top card of your security stack, you prevent it from leaving play. And then all turns, when a card is trashed from your security stack by an effect, this Digimon with Leon and Alexander in its Digivolution cards may Digivolve into a Digimon with Pulsemon in its text in the hand without paying the cost. So it could Digivolve into your Kazuchimons, it can Digivolve into your Shivamon Ace, you can Digivolve into Shroudmon if you decide to play that. It's just a really cool card. You know, that all turns effect, you know, it is fairly readable. If you've got it out and you've got Leon underneath, you know, they might try and not delete you. But obviously you can also do certain things. So if they swing in and they forget about your protection effect, you can switch, well, the Digivolution effects are up rather. You could block, barrier, trash, go into Kazuchimon, security tap -1 on their board. Really good. Also has a great inheritable, which he shares with all of the other level 5s in this deck, which is if this Digimon has Pulsemon in its text, by trashing the top card of your security stack, unsuspend this Digimon. Really good inheritable. The next one we'll talk about is Climbmon, and we're going to talk about him before the last level 5, just because the other level 5 is actually a really cool combo piece for this guy. If you have 3 or more security cards, you draw 2 and trash 1 card in your hand. If you have 3 or fewer, you may play 1 Digimon card with Pulsemon in its text and 6000 DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. And at the next end of your opponent's turn, delete it. So at the next end of your opponent's turn, you have to delete the Digimon that you play out with that effect. You know, but honestly, that doesn't always matter, because, you know, you're going to be blocking with stuff. You can, you know, a really cool combo you could do with this guy is you can play out stuff with him, and then use your Hacker Pride to put whatever you played out into your security to gain 2 memory and to also recover, essentially do a recovery, which is really good. He's also, again, fantastic in the Takumi Kazuchi version of this version because you can fill your trash, and you need to do that in that build. Not so much in this one, but because he's the only trash involving thing in this, but playing out an extra body is still good. And one of the best bodies you can play out with him is Pulsemon. So this guy, on play when Digivolving, you have 3 or more security cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and it can't unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase. So unfortunately, if it can unsuspend in the main phase, can get past that, but otherwise that's an okay effect. The main thing though is if you have 3 or fewer security cards, gain 2 memory, so you can play him off of the Climbon, gain 2 memory for doing so, and then, like I say, use the Hacker Pride, gain another 2 memory by putting this guy into the security. It's really good. It's really cool. Pulsemon, I think, as a deck is really slept on, and I freaking love it. Our next card to talk about is Kazutrimon, one of our level 6s. When Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if Leon Alexander is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, all of your opponent's Digimon gain security attack -1 until the end of their turn. Also, I'm noticing I'm saying Alexander, not Alexander, which is interesting. I don't know why I'm saying that right now, but yeah, it's a thing to note. But anyways, this guy, really good floodgate. If you could loop it, which you can in a sense with the Hacker Pride, because you can essentially de-digivolve yourself to put the Kazutrimon back into security and then digivolve into it again to, the next turn, and essentially kind of do a little bit of a loop. Really good. One of my greatest achievements with Pulsemon as a deck, and granted that was with the Takumi Kazuchi version, was taking Charles's Imperial Dramon deck to a draw in Evo Cup, and if it weren't for the fact he got paired against higher players, I would have won that tournament with Pulsemon. So I'm still salty about that, but this card was his absolute bane during that. We had a game 1 that lasted almost half an hour because I kept managing to get into this guy and security attack minusing him. I lost that game 1, granted, but came back in game 2 with a very aggressive run using this guy again to kind of stun the board and do loads of checks because you can unsuspend with the level 5 inheritables. But anyways, end of your turn with this guy as well. It's once per turn. If you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gains -6,000 DP for the turn, and if you have 3 or fewer, recovery +1. So again, sweet spot. -6 on one of their guys and recovery +1. Then one of your Digimon may attack an opponent's Digimon. So the only thing you do have piercing in this deck. Piercing is not really a thing in Pulsemon, but you can still clear something off the board because you've -6 something. You can then swing into it quite safely. It does also have an inheritable, but I'm not going to mention it here because it is only relevant in the Fenrir Luger, in the Fenrir Luger build and in the Takumi and the Pulsemon Takumi Kazuchi builds, because essentially it's only inheritable usable by Takumi Kazuchi essentially. But if you want more about that inheritable, go see that BT17 profile. It's not changed. Honest. Anyways, Shivamon Ace is next. I've got 2 copies of this, 4 copies of the Kazuchi, 2 copies of this. On play, when Digivolving, you have 3 or more security cards, suspend one Digimon, and one of your Digimon gets 3,000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. If you have 3 or fewer security cards, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. I really like this card because it feels both like a Pulsemon and an Insect card. Because it's got this, the DP boosting, it's got some interaction with suspended Digimon. It also has the alternate effect of when this Digimon is suspended, it isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon. That's the Insect deck to a T. And again, really good in this. So I was doing some testing with this, I think it was yesterday. What was it I was going up against? It was something involving de-digivolve or returning. I can't remember what it was, but they kept trying to de-digivolve this. Yeah, it was something involving de-digivolve. I can't remember exactly what, but they kept trying to de-digivolve this, but because it was suspended, they couldn't do it. And they ended up scooping because they did that mistake twice without realizing. And then after the second time, they went, and just left. Which was kind of funny. But it's not like I've not done stuff like that, so I can't really laugh at them really. But all turns, you have that unaffected ability essentially. That DP boost as well is really good because if they do swing into one of your level 5s and you don't have barrier or something like that, you can ace into this, give it a boost, and just be bigger than them, which is quite nice. So I really like this card. It's just a shame you can't really use it in the Takumi Kazuchi version because he's green and Takumi Kazuchi can't digivolve on top of him. So there is that, but still really good card nonetheless. Then last card in the deck as our replacement level 7, as we're not placing the previously aforementioned 5,000 times Takumi Kazuchi, we've got Imperial Digimon Paladin mode. So obviously both of our level 6s are green now, so we can use this. And again, this actually does work really well in this build. Obviously you want to be using this purely as a game finisher. You don't want to go into it too early. But you've got so much memory gain in this, you can very easily just go into him for full 6 cost, and it doesn't matter to you. You can also blast into him as well. Doesn't matter. But you trash all of their sources underneath them, return all of the cards in your opponent's trash to the bottom of the deck, and if the effect, opponents or your deck, and then you can gain memory if you returned a white level 7. So if your other Paladin mode ace is in your trash, put your trash back into your deck, gain 3 memory. Charles taught me that actually in that very same match I just mentioned, where it was me versus him with Pulsemon and Imperial Digimon respectively. And certain matchups you might go up against where you're returning a white level 7. You can gain 3 memory, so it is pretty good. But the main thing is that when attacking as well, this is how you kind of finish the game with it. Return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck, unsuspend this Digimon. So really good, especially because obviously what we can do is we can get a cheeky little swing first with the Kazuchi, unsuspend, and then with the amount of memory we've gained, go into the Paladin mode ace on top of our Kazuchi, and then just start going Hail Mary, swing, bottom deck, unsuspend, swing, bottom deck, unsuspend. It's just a really good card. Is it as powerful as Takumi Kazuchi? Absolutely fucking hell no. But still a really, really good level 7 and a nice backup, especially given it can go on both of our guys. Next, we go into the Tamers. We've got 2 copies of Hacker Judge, who is treated as Leon Alexander. I said Alexander that time. So you can still do all your starter mains and stuff like that with this one. Is just a memory setter, has Mind Link, but has the inheritable effects of while this Digimon has Pulsemon in its text, it gains Blocker and Barrier. And then you can play him out at the end of all turns as well, so you can make sure he's safe if you feel like he's going to be in a bit of a dangerous situation being under one of your Digimon. Then we also have the BT-17 Leon Alexander, which does exactly the same stuff as the Memory Tamer one. Just the difference here is instead of having a set to 3, we have a starter main. If you have a Digimon Pulsemon in its text, gain 1. So you can kind of balance the 2, use 1 to go up to 3, use the other one to get a cheeky 4th memory, and all of that. So pretty good. And then we've also got 2 copies of Blinding Ray. Trash the top card of your security stack, then gain 2 memory, so you can actually trash your security, get lower in terms of your security count to that sweet spot of 3, trigger some of your effects in this, all gaining 2 memory. Really, really good in this. We've also got Hacker Pride. The Hacker Pride is one of the best search cards I think has ever been made. It's so good. Mainly in the context of this, but it just does so many cool things. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Pulsemon in its text among them to the hand, return the rest to the bottom, then place this card in the battle area. But the real thing is, as I kind of mentioned earlier with the combos using the Pistmon and the Climbmon, you can place the top card of one of your level 4 Digimon with Pulsemon in its text on top of your security stack to gain 2 memory. So essentially you de-digivolve one of your own Digimon to gain 2 and recovery +1. So good. How is Pulsemon not a really strong deck in the meta? How isn't it? It's just so good. People sleep on this deck so much. Then security effect on this one is reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Pulsemon in its text among them to the hand, and return the rest to the bottom of the deck, then place this card in the battle area. So really good. And then the last card we have got to talk about, of course, is Green Scramble. Now, like I said, if you wanted to mess around with the ratios of your rookies and have more of the yellow rookies than the green ones, you could obviously play Yellow Scramble. And to be fair, that's not a bad shout. Seeming your Tamers are yellow, seeming your Egg is yellow. So Yellow Scramble is probably more playable. But I personally think having only 2 copies of the BT6 one works better in terms of the whole deck's consistency, because you're not going to be getting its on-play effect off too many times in one game. We're at a speed now where I don't feel like you're going to be able to go on play trash until I've got 3-4 times. I just don't think that's going to happen. So I prefer having the Green Scramble, because obviously our BT-17 one is green, our Searching one is green, so we can play those out using that. Also we do have a lot of our Digimon are green as well. So the fact is, most of our 4s and above are green. So like Bulkmon's green, obviously it's yellow too, but Runnermon's green, Examon's green, Boutmon's green, Pissmon's green, Kazuchimon's Shivamon, Paladin mode, all of those are green, so I feel like the green scramble works better with the majority of the deck. If you want to try and go a bit more yellow, maybe use the old Kazuchimon, or maybe use Shroudmon. That would probably be more relevant than that first thing. You know, maybe try and use Tempomon, or maybe some of the old Bulkmons, you know, that sort of thing. Then I think Yellow Scramble would be worth it. But in terms of this specific build and what I think Green Scramble is better. Anyways, that's the deck, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what sort of decks you guys want to see in 2025, because like I say, this is the last deck profile of 2024. So let me know what you guys want to see, and you know, let me know if you guys want me to try and get more of the others to do deck profiles, because it's been a lot of deck profiles from me recently. We had some from Dan, you know, over the last couple of weeks, which has been really good. But I think we definitely use some more deck profiles from the rest of the members of the team. So let me know if you want me to get out the wacky stick, so I can remind them to do deck profiles for me. Anyways, like and subscribe, and we'll see you for Jank Tank the Champions 30th of December. But until then, keep it digital and Merry Christmas.